Now, our first two stories here tonight, Greece and Egypt, among the places being watched closely at the G20 summit, which started today in Mexico. President Obama's there, so is Russia's President Vladimir Putin, and there's new tension between those two, between the U.S. and Russia, over Syria and the uprising there, and you could see the tension between the two of them today. Our chief White House correspondent and political director, Chuck Todd, reports tonight from Los Cabos.
It was the first meeting between President Obama and newly reinstalled Russian President Vladimir Putin. The stickiest issue they discussed, Syria.
We discussed Syria, where we agreed that we need to see a cessation of the violence, that a political process has to be created to prevent civil war.
From my perspective, we've been able to find many commonalities.
U.S. diplomats found some hope in what wasn't said, that Putin avoided publicly standing by Syrian President Assad. But Senator John McCain, who has been leading an effort to get the U.S. involved militarily on Syria, sees the apparent lack of progress with Russia on this issue as predictable.
The diplomatic resolution in conflicts like these is not possible until the military balance of power changes on the ground.
Most striking about the public meeting, the two leaders' apparent body language would seem tense, even cold. They barely made eye contact, rarely exchanged even the briefest of smiles. A far cry from the very personal relationship President Obama had with former Russian President Medvedev. The two were on a first-name basis.
As Dmitry mentioned, we think it's going to be very important.
At a briefing later, the White House cautioned reporters from drawing conclusions from the apparent lack of warmth.
They're candid and businesslike. That tends to be the demeanor of the Russians.
The big focus here at the G20 summit is the European debt crisis. Today, President Obama and others expressed very cautious optimism on Greece.
The election in Greece yesterday indicates a positive prospect for not only them forming a government, but also them working constructively with their international partners in order that they can continue on the path of reform.
Now, the president began his day meeting with the host country's president, Felipe Calderon, who began his opening remarks thanking the president for his decision on Friday, making it so that immigrants temporarily wouldn't be deported if they were brought here to the United States by their parents illegally and not on their own, Brian.
Chuck Todd at the G20 in Mexico tonight. Chuck, thanks.